It takes them a little time.
And they have 2 timeouts remaining. And two wide receivers who are known for going up and getting the ball in the end zone.
Gannon, 4 of 4, 29 yards. Out of the backfield there, Nelson. Incomplete.
Boy, they had a play set up there. He catches that ball on the run, Skip. He may score right down the end zone. Because the 2 wide receivers, the Carters, come inside on a slant. Nelson out of the backfield. Just a poor throw forces him to make an adjustment. If he catches that on the move, he may go down the sideline.
58 seconds left. Herschel Walker back into the game. Anthony Carter wide to the left. Chris Carter in the slot to the right. Hassan Jones wide right. This is the 14th play of the drive. It's taken nearly 6.5 minutes. Jones in motion. Jones drops it. Pass that would have gotten him close to the 5-yard line if he had hung on. Randy Robbins was there, but that ball was right on the money. He just dropped it.
Yeah, you know, and that is the difference between being 3-2 perhaps and the 2-3 record if they lose. It's plays like that. It's not 1 or 2 giant plays. It's the subtle things, the little plays.
Oh, and then the penalty that cost you a touchdown.
Yeah.
What? They're not. They're a long way from being dead here. It's 3rd and 10 at the 20. Hassan Jones again wide right. The Carters to the left. Herschel is out of the backfield. Mecklenburg gives chase. He breaks the tackle. Gannon to the 14-yard line. The Vikings are going to try to call timeout here, and they do with 43 seconds left.
Boy, did Rich Gannon break the tackle. I think it was of Kenny Walker who had him just about strangled. And Gannon ran right through it. Again, this is amazing what the body can do when some larger bodies are chasing you. And that's what happened here to Rich Gannon. Number 96, Walker, has it. But he just fought through that one. We saw Elway run through a defender earlier on. This time Rich Gannon does it.
Still, it's 4th and a short 3 for the Vikings, and it might get down to this. Minnesota this year on 4th down conversions just 1 of 5, but
it does make a difference on this play.
No, not a bit.
Now you have a number of options here if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Clearly we've already talked about the Carters, how clutch kind of plays they are. You also have a tight end, Steve Jordan, who is notorious for working the middle of the field pretty well.
Well, here we go. 4th. They have to get to just inside the 11-yard line, just shy of the 10.
Yeah, with 3 receivers on the left here, there are 2 wide receivers and Herschel Walker. Maybe it's a little pick play on here.
They don't get this. It's over. This first down. Chris Carter in motion. Gannon will throw. He has time. He throws. He's got it. Incomplete.
Hassan Jones again, who dropped it.
Boy, oh boy, that's 2 he might have had and did not. That would have been enough for the first down.
Rich Gannon did all that he could do to get this ball to Hassan Jones. And Hassan Jones is a professional. Man. He has to make plays like that. He has to make plays like that as a receiver in the National Football League. He's dropped 2 in a row and given his chance, or just ruined the chance for his team to win this football game.
Well, you can look at the expression on his face and know that he's very aware of that.
Yep.
They have, what, 1 timeout remaining, but it's really academic here unless there's another fumble. And Elway this time is just going to take it himself. Well, road teams had been 2-9 this year in domed stadiums. The Colts lost both those. Timeout is called here with 32 seconds left by Minnesota.
Dan Reeves said, I'm going to know more about my team. He found out an awful lot about Gaston Green tonight. They'll go to Houston to play the Oilers next week before their bye. But he has to be absolutely delighted to be 4-1. This team came into this season with a renewed enthusiasm after a miserable season a year ago. And he picks up his 100th win.
Boy, it was a struggle all the way.
It was. Mike Ditka picked up his 100th last week on Monday night, and Dan Reeves tonight. 2
guys who coached together in Dallas as assistants.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Under Tom Landry. Well, now they have to snap it one more time, and barring a unbelievable mistake,
Well, the Vikings have not scored a touchdown now, Skip, in 2 weeks.
And they now have created for themselves a quarterback controversy for next week.
And they go to
you know all about that.
Oh, absolutely. And they go to Detroit next week, who has been one of the real surprise teams thus far in the NFL.
And Denver goes to Houston to play in yet another dome. So this one winds down, 18 seconds left, but they won't have to snap it again. And the players exchange pleasantries, and Jerry Burns waves goodbye to Dan Reeves. And your final score is 13-6 Broncos. The Vikings' offensive woes continue. They go to 2-3, and Denver now 4-1 for the year. Tonight's McDonald's McLean Deluxe Player of the Game is Gaston Green. Pictured here. He had a tremendous night, more than 150 yards rushing. There you see the story on our McDonald's Player of the Game.
Really incredible. Denver wins the game with just 63 yards passing.
But they'll take it.
Yeah.
Way to come in and do it. Good luck.
13-6 is our final score. We'll be back to wrap things up here at the Metrodome right after this.
Passes on the crucial drive for the Vikings. Both of them thrown to Hassan Jones. That was the first. And this one, when they're trying to keep the drive alive, keep it going, give them a chance to win on 4th and 4. He's open. Does a nice job of getting open, but he just does not make the play. And that's the difference between a 2-3 start and a 3-2.
And once again, our final score is the Broncos 13, the Vikings 6. Be with us next Sunday, please, as we travel to Indianapolis for the Steelers-Colts game.
Here on the city and on the Minnesota Vikings, as you see the Denver Broncos came, saw, and conquered, winning a hard-fought battle by a final count of 13-6. This is the Stadium Show post-game, and we are loaded tonight. Live interviews with the Broncos and Vikings. We will have a complete update and rundown on Week 5 of the National Football League. Plus, Larry King visits with former Packer great Willie Davis to discuss NFL expansion in the league and a lot of things going on with that during the coming week. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Fred Hickman. I am joined, of course, by Kevin Kiley and our special guest commentator for the evening, John Elway of the victorious Denver Broncos. John, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure.
Congratulations. A big win for you guys tonight.
Really big win, especially coming 3-1 coming in here, and we knew the next 2 games we have in domes and we haven't played real well, so it was real important for us to try to get one of the 2 wins. Unfortunately, we got this one. Now we can work on 2-on-2 and hopefully go down to Houston and play well.
You know what? We thought you were a quarterback, but let's take a look at the highlights. We're going to find out that you can run that ball pretty well. That's no secret, of course. The highlights of the game we're going to pick up in the second half here. John is tied at 3, and here is the offense. Tell us about this play.
Well, this is just a quarterback draw. I can't remember if we had a timeout before or not, but I went over the sideline, and Dan and I talked about it, and he's really the one that suggested it. We've been getting so much blitz from him, and I didn't have a whole lot of time, and they blitzed again, and fortunately I was able to get through there, get the first down, and get in the end zone.
Right after the kickoff, first play for Minnesota, they come up with the interception.
Big play by Steve Atwater, and then we get the ball, we get some penalties that helps us out down there, and then we have an unfortunate thing that gives them a chance to get back in the game with the fumble by Greg Lewis down there on 1st and goal.
That's the youngster. That must have made your heart skip a beat, but so must have this. Now here's Gannon driving the ball, and it looks like it's a sure completion to keep him alive.
It sure does, and it looks like that was almost I think the second ball he dropped on this drive, and so my heart fell, and thank God that he dropped it, and we were able to win the football game.
You do come out with the victory, and once again we'll take a look here at the guy who does get open. He finds that little seam in the coverage there, and it's right in his hands.
He sure does, and Gannon did a great job buying time because it looked like he broke his pattern off, and Rich did a great job coming in there on that last drive. That's a tough place to come in, but he came in and did a great job.
John, a lot has been made of you calling your own plays. 9 years in the league now, and speaking with Dan Reeves during the week, he said that he was looking for something to get you excited, to get you involved, more involved in the game, because the team seems to follow your lead. Has that happened now after Week 5?
Well, I think so, and I think that we're getting better offensively. We're pretty young. We've got 2 new backs, and our offensive line, we haven't had the same offensive line for, I think, 3 weeks now, and so we've been doing a lot of different things offensively. Defensively, we've been playing great, and they've been keeping us in the football game. So, you know, I'm doing everything I can offensively to get us going. I don't want to turn the ball over and doing everything we can to get in the end zone.
Well over 150 yards for Gaston Green, but late in the game driving. Greg Lewis is in the game. Bobby Humphrey not on the team, because Greg Lewis is really more like Bobby Humphrey, isn't he? He's an inside runner, and you needed that inside game.
He really is, and Gaston came out limping on the play before when we got the first down, and Greg went in, and he's a great, that's his specialty, is that short yardage run like that, and unfortunately he just got the ball stripped from him.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this quarterback draw. You're very kindly is saying that Dan Reeves called the play, but I know for a fact that as a quarterback, I know you'd love to take off with the ball. Tell me what you're seeing as you look at this videotape. You've called the play, you know it's a quarterback draw. What do you see as you look over the line?
Well, when I first look at it, I'm going, well, I like to play, and I got to the line of scrimmage, and I see Merriweather on the opposite side of Sewell, and usually if he's covering him man, he's on the same side, so I'm expecting Merriweather to come. He does come, and I'm just trying to find my way through the trash. You see there, the Merriweather came from the outside. Ken Lanier did a great job getting two for me right there. At this point in time, I'm looking for first down. And I saw it, and I got by Brown, and the next thing I do, I'm looking for the end zone, and I saw McMillan between me and him, and I just lowered the shoulder and was able to get the ball in the end zone.
Well, that's fullback stuff from John Elway. Now, as you look at the Denver Broncos now, after last year, you had such a rough year. You're 4-1. You've got to be favored to win the West now, and yet you're a team really that has not gotten a tremendous amount of respect in spite of the Super Bowl appearances. Is that a stigma that you fight every week, every year?
Well, I think so, but I think that the main thing is that we know that we're a good football team, and we are coming back off a 5-11 year, and it's a great start for us. 4-1's a great start. We're going to just stay within ourselves, play it week by week, and hopefully we can win the West. We still got Kansas City's, and the Raiders are a game behind us, so we're going to have to keep it up.
All right, John, thanks.
John, we know you have TNT's phone number over there on your wristband. That's what that's all about. Give us a call anytime. You're welcome to come by and be a sportscast.
Thank you, Fred.
Nice hat. Anyway, we're going to take a break here and go to Atlanta for a little bit more on this fifth Sunday of football. Chicago and Buffalo. The Bears went in. Ernie Johnson.
Touchdown tonight, but had it wiped out because of a penalty, and that took 6 valuable points off the board. The Vikes shooting for their 3rd straight victory over the Broncos. John Elway looking more like a running back on this play. Taking in the shotgun, and then he bulls in. Watch him put the head down at the 3 and getting into the end zone to put Denver up 10-6. Even some Bronco fans at the Dome. Broncos were going in for another touchdown, but a key play as Greg Lewis fumbles and Carl Lee has it. 7 minutes left in the game, so the Vikings on their last-ditch effort. Rich Gannon, who replaced Wade Wilson, over the middle to Hassan Jones, wide open at the 5. That would have been a first down and goal, but he dropped the ball. The Vikings fall to 2-3. Offensive ineptitude by this team. They have not scored in 2 games, and the victory was Denver's first on the road this season, and it gave head coach Dan Reeves his 100th career coaching victory. He's the 21st coach to reach that plateau. Meanwhile, in San Diego, the Chargers shut out the Chiefs in the second half, but remained winless on
Here, Guy Smith. He is an interpreter because Kenny is a physically challenged individual. He has a problem hearing, and therefore he has to he's not physically challenged on the field at all. He manages to get things done in a very big way. Kenny, please watch with us as we take a look at one of your plays out there. You're wearing number 96, and we'll see Kenny coming around on there's an end around here, a tough play to diagnose, but Kenny is able to get over there and make the play. Good speed for a big guy. Not bad at all. The rookie out of the University of Nebraska. But when things don't go well, of course, there are the possibilities of being yelled at, and we're going to see that in just a few moments. But first of all, Kenny, let me ask you this. How difficult is it for you to get your job done out on the football field with the problem that you have?
Well, that's pretty bad. But you got a football field.
It's pretty bad sometimes on the football field. It seems to me it depends on who you have communication with, and you have to go on during the game.
You got time to prepare before the game.
We try to get prepared before the game.
But it's not easy for me when you got a football field.
It's not easy for me when we get on the football field. It's a challenge.
For the first game today,
but it was my experience, the first experience I've had against Minnesota during the game today. And there's benefits for me.
It's a great effort today.
And there was great effort today.
I think it's important to note and people to understand that Kenny Walker was the Big 8 Player of the Year for the University of Nebraska last year. And questions that I have, being an old defensive player, Kenny, when I had my back to the play and there was an interception, the other players would yell ball or Oski, and they would let me know there was an interception. When you have your back to the play, you can't hear that. How do you know there's been a turnover and you are now on offense?
Well, it's not easy. I don't hear anything on the football field, but it's like when you get on the field, you see something. When everybody's running forward, and I know there must be something, so it just changes in the position. It's not easy for me. I can't hear them, so I just see them.
Excuse me, was there much prejudice as you were growing up, because you're hearing impaired, against you playing football? Did you run into it in the little leagues? Did you run into it from coaches who felt you couldn't do it?
Well, at first I started playing basketball in 7th grade, and it was more interesting for me. And there were coaches that allowed me to play basketball. And I learned through thinking about high school and college, and the toughest part was my freshman year. I joined on the varsity team, but there's a coach I didn't know how to communicate with. And so it was something I just had to keep working on. I know it's frustrating for me and frustrating for everyone. So we just need to work on how to find the right place for me. And when we succeed on communication, I just moved to another position, and it took more time. It took a little while.
Sometimes there are advantages to being hearing impaired. I know a lot of people don't want to think about that, but on the sideline tonight, we saw one of those advantages. Ernie Stautner, defensive coordinator, was pretty upset with you about something here as you take a look at the screen there, and Ernie's pretty animated. What was he saying to you through your interpreter on the sideline?
He was showing the picture like that. Ernie showed me something. He showed me something, but I didn't do very well on the field, and there was something wrong with it. So he's telling me what happened on the field so that I would know better. He wasn't really upset. He was encouraging me to do something. I started to realize what was supposed to be going on the football field. And he was not upset, but he was explaining it clearly for me.
Well, you're a remarkable man, Kenny, and thank you for coming up. And I think lest the people think that Guy Smith is impartial, his family has 22 season tickets to Denver Broncos games, and I know who he's pulling for on the sideline.
Absolutely. And before we let you guys go, I understand there is a special cheer that the fans have for you in Denver so that you can see when they're giving you a standing ovation. What is that special sign, if you might show it to us?
I can't say anything. Just see the people in the crowd and the orange colors and everything like that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kenny, and the best of luck to you. We got a special, highly expensive T-shirt for you to wear back to Denver today.
Okay.
We're going to take a break, but when we come back, Larry King interviews Willie Davis, a potential owner in the NFL. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
Surprise themselves. They aren't supposed to win that way. Broncos playing the Vikings tonight in Minnesota. This game was 3-3 at the half, kind of boring, and it didn't get a lot better in the second half, but that is when most of the highlights occurred. Like this one, John Elway, 17 yards out, he decides to keep it, and he scores. That's the only touchdown in this game. Now, Broncos up by that touchdown. You see the Vikings are trying to come back, tie the score and win it. That's 4th down, their last chance, and they don't make it. You see the time left. The Broncos just ran out the clock. Speaking of running, how about some fine piece of running right here by Gaston Green. 26 carries, 158 yards rushing as Gaston pours it on once again. Denver gets the win. They are now 4-1. They beat Minnesota 13-6. Broncos, of course, never have an easy time, though, in a dome.
Well, if it was our dome, I'd love it. Yeah. But, you know, like I said, the only problem with the domes is the crowd noise. And if we play the way we're capable of, it won't be a problem.
I think you lose part of the advantage that you have offensively when you play in a dome because you have the snap count.
The Chiefs look for their first win in this stadium since 1982. Good afternoon, everybody. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton in Denver. Top two teams, the 5-2 Chiefs, the 4-2 Denver Broncos. The Chiefs coming off back-to-back 200-yard rushing efforts against Buffalo and Miami. Can Denver stop the ground game of Kansas City?
Well, I think that's what we all came to see. But the thing is about Kansas City, they used to have a one-punch attack. Now they've got a 1-2-3 punch attack. Christian Okoye goes in and plows away at the defensive front. Then they bring in Barry Ward, a guy that got over 1,000 yards last year. And then now they've got a rookie, Harvey Williams, who's a slasher. I mean, this guy can smoke. So they've got a 1-2-3.
Defensive coordinator Wade Phillips for the Denver Broncos told us yesterday a chief concern of his early in the contest, how his front three does. He does not have a lot of beef up front. It's not a huge defensive front. And I'm talking about Powers, Cragen, and Ron Holmes. He's also got help from Kenny Walker off the bench, the rookie from Nebraska. And when you look at the overall series between these two teams, just mentioned, the Chiefs have not been able to win here since 1982. So the Broncos have taken 3 of the last 4 overall, the last 8 at Mile High Stadium. And like Deron Cherry was telling us yesterday, the defensive backs for the Kansas City Chiefs, for some reason, they always fall behind at the stadium. They always find themselves playing catch-up. Last year, they lost a 1-point game with time running out. And the man who won the game was David Treadwell for the Denver Broncos. Clark and Montgomery back to